What's going on, everybody? You see, I'm still stealing Brett's intros because I don't have my own yet. So I'm just going to take what I want and do my thing my way. This is another episode of Behind the Comics. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being here while we take this deep dive into a medium that we all love. Today, I'm going to have a man who I haven't actually personally met. Well, with COVID and the pandemic, obviously a lot of us haven't, but the gentleman is Tony Klapper. We've talked online. I'm very familiar with the company he's with currently. He's a really good dude. He is the creator of Five Star, a character that's on Kickstarter right now. Last I checked, they were at 37.51. They're just a shade away from their goal. So if you guys are in there, we're gonna put up the link in just a little bit so you guys can head right over there and support them in getting this project out. Tony actually started with Five Star with Crazy Monkey Inc., and he dropped issues 1 through 3 with them in 2000, leading up to 2019. Since then, he's crossed over to FSK. Obviously, you guys know we're friends at FSK. I'm on Mike Watson's Chat and Draw. He's been on our show. We're supposed to talk with Charlie McElvey about Spider Squirrel at some time in the near future. They're a great bunch of creators. I love the work that they do. Tony also co-hosts a podcast with Fish Lee, and Fish Lee, who I also don't know personally, but we've gotten enough internet fandom arguments that I consider him a friend, like we do all of them. So, without further ado, um, here is Tony bringing Five Star to Kickstarter and bringing his own personage to Behind the Comics. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
I can't complain. How about yourself?
Man, I am hanging in there. Thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. You guys are doing a really good job. Like I said, I'm a real big fan of FSK in general. But it's also good to see you kind of cross over with the property that's already established
Yeah.
into the FSK market.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It was a no-brainer for me. Mike's a good dude and the company he keeps is good people, and us living in the same state, it was bound to happen, I guess. And when he reached out, it was a no-brainer for me to jump on the ship.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, yeah, I appreciate it. And Mike is a good dude. He's also, man, his energy can be kind of I guess infectious, not
Oh
to
yeah,
put
for
too fine a
sure.
point on it. So I think
Yeah.
that obviously helps. So before we get into Five Star,
Yeah.
how does it work? I know Fish is an illustrator.
Yeah.
Is it a co-creation, or is Five Star yours and then you guys are doing the book together? What's the dynamic there?
Five Star is mine. I am the creator of the character, and I wrote the script for issue one. We got on Kickstarter right now. Um, but just the relationship that we have over the podcast and just him doing the art, it's kind of more into more of he. I'm okay with him adding in story elements. He's really good at telling a story with his art, and there'll be times where he's like, we could do this or we could do that. And I always take it, um, everything he says. And, we have deep conversations about the book. And I think ultimately our relationship, transcends on the pages because we are trying to just make this project the best possible. So it's formed more into, I would say he's probably a co-writer at this point.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. That I don't know, man. That collaborative energy, even when you're
Yeah.
talking about being with FSK or being with somebody on a podcast, sometimes it's kind of hard between writer and artist, especially with how we have to do it with independent. A lot of times, people are across the country, across the world, whatever. So it's good to see
Yeah.
you guys being able to kind of put that together.
Yeah,
Uh,
for
s-
sure. Yeah, for sure.
so um, Kickstarter right now.
Yeah.
What are we looking at when we're looking at the Kickstarter? Is this a remix, a redux of the original issue with Crazy Monkey Inc., or a brand new retelling?
Okay, so a little bit of both actually. So, um, Story wise, we did go through and we tweaked some things because now Five Star is no longer in his standalone universe like he was intended to be. He is actually being pulled into this FSK universe.
Okay.
His origin is restarting. This is a relaunch of the series because his origin is starting in FSK, the universe, the Hotshot universe. So it's like he
Mhm.
never had his own universe before. He is starting up here. So we took the unique opportunity. It was a year and a half before since the last time I put out a Five Star book,
Mhm.
and we had talked when I was coming on to FSK. Hey, how do we want to do this? Do we want him to be in his own world, kind of like how Spider Squirrel is? He does his own thing, or do
Mhm.
we want to put him in to the Hotshot universe? And I thought it would be fun to put him into the Hotshot universe. So me, Mike, and Danny Cooper got together, and we just kind of looked over what I had and seen how we could fit it in because we want to be strategic. We just didn't want it to feel like it was all crammed in there and didn't make sense.
Mhm.
And that's another reason why we decided to go ahead and redo the art. Officially did issue 3. I wanted him on issue 1 and 2 just to make it all look to that next level. And every page is completely different than the last book because Fishley didn't even want to look at the other book when he took the script and
Mhm.
drew it. He wanted it to be as original as possible. So, like I said, there's not a panel or page that looks the same in this book. It's from his mind with the script that I gave him, and that was a tweaked script to fit it into the FSK universe.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what's the meaning? So I know a very little. Like I come in to the five star mythos as a neophyte myself, so I
Okay.
know a little bit. But what's the meaning behind the name five star, and how is that going to work with the structure they've set in FSK so far?
Okay. Yeah. So the name Five Star actually comes from, there's a part in the book where there's a screen of, they're explaining to him the impact that he can make with his powers. This you could make an impact on the world. You could do something. You could help the world. Um, and on this screen, you have characters like Hotshot. You have characters like Vigilance, and they're based on a scale. One being weaker, 5 stars being the most,
Hmm.
and its potential power. You know,
Hmm.
this is your potential power. You're potentially a 5 star enhanced human, and he sees that on the board, and him, just a little bit of cockiness that he has, says, "Yo, I got an idea for the suit. I got an idea for my name." So that's
Hmm.
where 5 star comes into play.
Okay.
That was something that I was able to add into FSK, that power scale there. That's something that Danny and Mike was cool because I said it is part of, his name and the stars on his suit, and they were completely cool with that.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So where do vigilance and hotshot fit in that ranking? Are they also five star type
Yeah, 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 yeah,
abilities? Okay, so we got some omega level kind of guys. I got it. I like that. I like that.
yeah. They don't,
It's very
so
original.
we haven't really introduced too many Omega levels in that universe. So once like we I'm sure once some other people come into play, their power scales are going to be altered a little
Yeah.
bit because we haven't faced any galactic threats yet or anything like that in FSK. But as far as the amount of damage that they could do if everything went
Mhm.
wrong, puts them at that 5 star
Okay.
level.
Okay. Um. So, what does your because you said that you guys rewrote, I mean not rewrote, but basically redrew the issue. So, what does your creative process look like before you pass it to Fish, and then Fish's creative process as he gives it
Yeah,
back to you? Because I imagine you do some editing, right, of your own kind of work.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I had a couple editors on this project. Also, Daniel Hoynes and Eric Bennett helped me
Mm.
with the editing. Um, Man, it's my writing process is strange, man. I do a lot of my writing as a passenger in a car. It's strange. It's not like it's not sitting down at a desk and getting at it. If I'm a passenger in a car, I take that opportunity to kind of just tune in on my phone. There's something about the non-quietness that really just help me get through that. I guess the music jamming or whatever, and that's where I start writing and try to pull from just life experiences or things that's happening, and then I pass it on to Fish, and Fish is so fast with the pages. We try to go back and forth. We go back and forth a lot, but I got to get to him ASAP because before you know it, he'll have 10 pages knocked out in here.
Oh, damn.
He, yeah, he's very quick with the pencils. So, and like I said, now it's evolved into a point to where um, we'll pull up a session like this, even me and Fish, and we'll just talk about this is where we want issue to start, this is where we want the issue to end, and we kind of just fill it in together now.
That's pretty dope. That's like I said, man. That collaborative unit, bro. You can't put a price on that.
No, no, you can't.
You
Especially
know,
before, literally back before when I was doing things, I was doing it on my own, and it just felt it gets tiring. It gets to a point to where you kind of feel stale. But having that, I bring it up. I reference it to like when you're a kid and you're with your friends or your siblings and you're playing with your action figures, right? And you're
mhm.
creating this story with them, and you add something, and then they add something, and then all of a sudden you got this awesome thing you got going on. It kind of brings you back to that feeling a little bit when you're able to just go back and forth on a story with someone, and you're both, we'll have a Google Drive, a doc up, and we're both typing in it. He's writing his notes, I'm writing my notes, and then from that we developed a story.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, where do you see? I mean, I know you're on issue one. You're releasing issue one. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I know a lot of us are like, "Oh man, I got 100 issues," and I don't mean like that. But where do
yeah.
you see the story progressing? Like in the next, like say, 10 issues?
I mean, so me coming into this new universe with FSK, I know down the road Mike has things planned that he
Hmm.
wants the universe to be at, everybody's book to be at a point to where we're ready for this crossover.
Hmm.
In the same sense, I told, and Mike was super supportive of this. I said, I want Five Star to have his solo stories. I want people to connect to him and feel like that is a strong 5 star standalone story arc. And he was completely fine with that. And at the end, it just makes each character better for when you do those crossovers. Um, but we're all this year riding towards an event that's going to take place in the FSK universe. That's going to be a big collaborative project. So I'm hoping to just keep cranking out stories for 5 star with the FSK universe as long as I can, um, and then work towards those big events that we have in the universe.
Big event, FSK. You don't say. I may or may not have some inside info on that. I will never tell.
I knew that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think it's going to be some great stuff. I can't wait to see it. Now, you talked about personal experience, and I want to get into something because I think this is something that in interviews we don't tackle, first of all,
yeah,
and we don't really tackle in general, but it always comes up eventually, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, so Kevin Terry, you've got one cover where he's in the barbershop, and obviously we know barbershop is very close and culturally poignant
yeah, yeah,
for black people. And so I don't, I'm going to go on record. I do not know your race. I do not know your ethnicity.
yeah,
So
yeah,
without having any of that information, um, I would like to ask what, what inspires you to write a character that looks like him, that
yeah,
goes
yeah,
into a barbershop, that does these things? Because again, you talked about pulling from your personal experience,
yeah, yeah,
so I
yeah,
can make some inferences there, but I obviously want it to be, out there. I don't want somebody to see you and say, "Oh, phenotypically, I don't think
yeah.
that that's the case," which is
Right,
exactly what
right, right.
happens when we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
into the
it's all
internet
yeah, it's
stuff,
happened. Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. I've had people inbox me and say, how do you, how do you, what gives you the right type of deal.
Exactly.
Um, so let's a two parter. Kevin Terry, the character 5 star Kevin Terry, is actually based off of two people that I know
Mhm,
personally. They're both mentors of mine. Um, they're both people who are African American. They're both people who are in their communities, fighting for their communities, fighting for the youth. They do a lot of community work. They do a lot of things to better the youth. They do a lot of things that in a neighborhood that I live in, where the rest of the world is forgot about. People don't care about this neighborhood. They don't care about where we live at. But these people, Kevin and Terry, they went out, they got degrees, they could have worked anywhere, but they decided to come back to this neighborhood and fight for this neighborhood and make a difference for this neighborhood that's not always, so grateful. Most of the time
mhm,
even gives pushback to them. You know
mhm,
what I'm saying? They're they're trying to encourage the youth. They're trying to tell the youth that um, there's something better out there for you.
mhm.
Uh, and I wanted to show that in my book. I wanted to represent the person that they are, with this book, the character that they are with this book. So when I was making a character, I thought of just people who were real superheroes in my life, people that I look up to, people that inspire me daily. And Kevin Aldridge and Terry Shores, where we get the name Kevin Terry, are those two people that do that for me. So that's where Kevin Terry comes from.
Mhm.
Um, and they both play a part in the book as far as they're not comic book guys by any means. they're
Yeah.
they're just not. But there's times where I hit them up and say, "Hey, what's this sound like? Hey, is this something that you would think? Hey, is this something that?" So their influence is heavy in the book. Yes, I might not walk the life personally,
Mhm.
and I'll never know what that walk is like, but I want to capture what I'm seeing and what I'm being inspired by daily with this character.
I think that's
Um,
pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah, man, and they love the idea of having a character based off of them. Now the barbershop scene is actually something near and dear to me because for one, I love going to the barber. I
Mhm.
haven't been like I usually go twice a month. I haven't been. I started a new job at home, so I haven't been as adamant about getting out in there that I usually am.
Mhm.
But when I was younger, uh, my best friend and now is actually like a brother. My mom adopted him actually when we were in the sixth grade. She let him move in with us because he had nowhere else to go. Um, we would go to his. I would go to his house every weekend, and his dad would wake us up in the morning and he'd take us both to the barbershop. And I was
Mhm.
just this little white boy going to this barbershop, and I'll never forget the feeling of going there. As far as they just treated everyone like family. There was people that just hung out there all day. There was people that just, every time I come in, it was like, "What's up, big man?" Every time, and I just love that feeling of going to the barbershop, the community, the family that you felt like I don't even know these people. I don't
Yeah.
know, and they just automatically bring me in, and just the way it was, you just felt like you were at home sitting there in a barbershop listening to everybody talk and tell their stories and just how their week went. And I'll never forget that feeling. And now today as an adult, I love going to the barbershop. I take my son to the barbershop. So I wanted to incorporate this cover. Plus also the person who's cutting the hair in the cover is a friend of mine who owns a barbershop. And he was the first person to put the original 5 Star in a store. He put it in the barbershop and he would send pictures of me to me of kids reading the book while they were waiting to get their haircut. So
Well, that's dope. That's dope. And to me, it seems right. Like obviously, I'm not the ultimate judge, and ignorant people are going to be in your inbox, like you already
yeah, for
said they
sure.
have
Yeah, for
been or
sure.
whatever. But I think that is really the appreciation part. You know what I mean, as
Yeah,
opposed to the appropriation part.
yeah,
I mean, if you're honoring people and honoring their traditions, I think that that's a great thing across the board. So, man, hats off to you for
thank
like
you.
really tapping into that and make it important, right?
Yeah,
I think that we do see a lot of books that trade on cultural and ethnic trends.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I mean, one, I hate it, obviously. Like, my
yeah,
ethnicity
yeah,
isn't a
yeah,
costume, right? But at the same time, when you see someone that's actually, again, honoring it and, hey, this is my friend who I put in a book and this is,
yeah,
this or that, I think it makes a lot of sense. I also hate the part where people are like, oh, yeah, if you're one race, you shouldn't write for the other. Like, that also doesn't
yeah,
make any sense, right?
yeah.
There's
I've
got to be
gotten
some
that.
kind of nuance, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And, I think that once we get away from that nuance, again, don't get me wrong. I've seen Comicsgate write for write for us, and it's horrible. No, should the people in Comicsgate necessarily write for Black people? No, 100% no.
right, right, right.
But
Yeah,
it's a different. We can't lump these things in the category. So again, man, I appreciate that. Hats off to you
thank
for
you.
pulling it together. And again, I know FSK and I know Mike and I know that they wouldn't let anything crazy happen. And I know
Yeah,
you
yeah,
fairly well, and nor would you. So I appreciate that.
yeah. No doubt, no doubt.
So let's talk dreams right quick, man.
Okay.
So dream team up with 5 Star. Dream comic
Mm,
that you could write if you had your choice of any and all comics, don't matter. Or dream, I should say story, right? So it doesn't even have to be comics. It could be something that you adapt into a comic.
yeah.
And dream publisher.
Uh, I'm gonna start with the last one, the
Mhm.
Dream Publisher, and it's gonna sound funny. But I feel like I'm where I want to be. I feel like I'm with a team of supportive people and like-minded individuals and people who are hungry and haven't already done it all. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
they've done things. Don't get me wrong. We FSK is, we're hitting new heights daily, but it's like we're just also hungry and we're also wanting, like, willing to just go that extra mile. And we got a leader who everybody, if you don't know Mike, you if you get to know him, you'll notice. But dude is a worker, bro. He is a worker. He grinds hard. He's always putting in that work, and it's inspiring. So just being part of a team that's like that, I mean, that's already a dream come true for me.
yeah.
For one, just
Hey,
being
Mike, give this guy a raise because he big ups you. I'm not going to, Mike. Nah, yeah, seriously. Nah, Mike is. You know what? It's hilarious because you know how his name is like most epic, bro. It took me
yeah,
almost a year to realize it was like enthusiastic person in comics. Like I didn't know it was
yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
acronym, and then I
yeah,
was like, once I got the acronym, I was like, that really is him. He's always happy and always
yeah,
moving and
for
always
sure.
going. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it is a great place to be.
yeah. And so as far as dream publisher, just being a part of a team like that, I feel like I've hit that dream. Of course, I'm excited to see where we are in a year from now with everything that we're doing and growing. So we'll see how that turns out. As far as characters or writing a story, I've always loved Daredevil.
Mhm.
Uh, I would love to write a Daredevil story. I don't know what I would do any differently than what's already been done with Daredevil, but just the fact to say that I wrote a Daredevil story would be awesome. I love the
Okay.
character. And then I'm sorry, what was the first question again?
Dream team up.
Team up, okay, with 5 star. Let's see. Somebody that I would really like to see 5 star team up with is Tyler Martin, Mega Woman.
Mm,
I think she's just a dope character. She was one of the characters, like when I first hit the scene, he was pushing her heavy. We kind of jumped on the scene around the same time,
yeah.
um, and we were both running our first Kickstarters around the same time.
Hmm.
And there was talks, even partial script wrote. It just never happened, just because I was doing my thing, he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
But I would love to see those characters together, just because I think it'd be a cool dynamic there.
Awesome, awesome. I just want to say real quick, shouts out to Brad, because Brad is always like,
Oh yeah,
I
for
thought I was an
sure,
indie fan, right? But like this dude picks up every indie comic I've ever seen. He's
for
on, you
sure.
know, he'll drop in on every show. He really does support, and he puts his soul where his, you know, mouth is, I guess. Is the best way we can say it. I could say it, you know what I mean? Because he's a huge supporter of everybody. So shouts out Brad Arnie. Thank you, sir.
Love Brad. He's a good dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so Mega Woman, that's actually not a bad team up. Also, the colors play on each other really well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I would like to see that. So maybe I know he's got his new baby right now that he's pushing hard, and
Yeah.
it's super dope series. But I would definitely, maybe one day, we did have a pinup. There was a pinup that went around with 5 star and her in
Hmm.
it. But I
Hmm.
would definitely would like to see that sometime.
What's going on, Kevin?
What's up,
Kevin
Kevin?
joined
We
the
had him on the
stream as
show
well.
last night.
Awesome, awesome. I also I'm looking forward to again knowing a little bit about FSK, man. I'm looking forward to that five
Yeah,
star vigilance meetup, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
how
We've
that
had
goes.
we've had we've had some talks about that too, just because. And if you can kind of you can see 5 star here. If you don't know who Vigilance is, they share a similar color scheme as far as suits go,
Hmm.
and we want to make sure that somebody cops an attitude about that. We don't know who and what yet, or how that'll work out, but we're gonna make some funny, long lasting jokes with that, I believe.
Nice, nice, awesome. So Kickstarter, man.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
what what has your experience been so far? And what are some tips for upcoming creators and people who are trying to jump into the Kickstarter market?
Yeah. So far, man, this Kickstarter has just been the, like, more than I can, because I'm just so happy with the outcome so far. I know we haven't hit that goal, but so far I've hit more than I've ever hit on any Kickstarter, and I've done 3 previous ones. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Um, so I'm just humbled by that. It just shows the work that I've been putting in. It shows like me getting out in front of people and letting them get to know me a little more and not just the product.
Hmm.
So I see that growth. It also shows where I can grow at, what social media platforms I could grow a little bit more on. Because you see, it's hard not to get caught up when you see people who hit their goal in one day,
Hmm.
or you see people who are hitting all this. And the biggest thing is don't get caught up in that. Know that you're in your own place. You're in your own journey. You got to do your journey. Learn from everything. Like I said, yes, this has been a extremely successful Kickstarter so far, but I want to get to that next level. So I'm going to take from this and learn from it, and not say, "Oh yeah, I had a $4,000 Kickstarter. I'm good." No, because I want to reach new heights. So I'm going to take time. I'm going to learn from that, and don't be so safely guarded. Definitely learn from people. I wouldn't be at this number if I didn't learn from Danny J. Quick, Morgan Iverson, Lori Foster, um, Tyler Martin. Just people who've had these great Kickstarters, and uh, the pregame. Don't slack on that pregame. Getting them people to the Kickstarter page before it launches is important.
Hmm.
There's just so much stuff that I've just learned from people. On this project, we didn't do 30 days. We did 2 weeks. Um, Lori Foster's had great success with that. She mentions, when you run that 30 days, sometimes you have that downtime in that 2 weeks. So just cut those 2 weeks out and just run that straight 2 week one. It was a big step for FSK, I know, because this was the first one that we've done that on.
Hmm.
So, but it's going good so far. And don't be afraid to learn from people. Don't be afraid to take little things and learn from other people, because that's going to be key.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I want to say shout out to Ryan Robinson, who just had a successful Kickstarter with Moana
Oh
McAdams.
yeah, that's my
They
gaming
just
buddy right
finished
now.
their, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, man. They did some really great stuff, and some of the little teases that Moana's put out. I've seen on her page already. The illustrations are looking great. So, the Adventures of Nokia and Nohea, I can't wait
Oh
to
yeah,
see
it
that. That's
looks
gonna be a
fire.
dope book, children's book. So it's gonna be pretty dope. I can't wait. All right. So, I mean, as we kind of come to a quick kind of close,
Yeah,
what are your tips? Okay, so we talked about Kickstarter tips and we talked
yeah.
about that kind of stuff. Again, because this helps and shows what you're doing, but behind the scenes, what are the tips that you have again for a creator that's coming in for a right? I wouldn't even say a creator, right? Not because I think that it's easier for an artist, but it's more visual, and we're in a visual medium,
Yeah.
so there are a lot more roads that they can see easier. What are your tips for a writer that's coming into the game that wants to collaborate, paid, of
Yeah.
course. Don't just say collaborate, guys, but who wants to put a book
Right.
together and produce something and move it to a publisher, independent, major,
Yeah.
whatever. What are your tips?
Number one is always going to be consistency. Try to be consistent in what you do. Um, get to it. You can keep waiting and say, I'm going to wait for this to line up and this to be right and this to happen before you start writing. Just get to it. Um, your first book might not, it's not definitely, it's going to be your best book. You know what I mean? You're going to learn from it. I luckily had a chance to go back and touch up on that first book, but just get it out there. Just do it. Um, and second, definitely, you know, don't be afraid to take insight from other people. Um, I get that we want to hold on to this thing because it's our baby and we don't want to change nothing. You're like, oh no, this story is this is the way I want my story, and I don't want to change it. Don't be afraid to take insight from other people, because if I wouldn't have done that with Fish Lee, I wouldn't say that this 5-star one would be where it's as exciting as it is right now to come out with, because just taking information from him. Don't be afraid to build relationships with people. Um, the dynamic that we have between writer and artist just is going to just make the overall project better. So don't be afraid to try to build on these relationships with people. Get you an artist that you feel comfortable with, and ultimately, the better your team is, the better the book's going to be.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm gonna send a shout out real quick to Danny J Quick as well. He just popped in and he said
Yeah,
you're out here grinding.
I was on
So
his show earlier today.
thank you, Danny, for recognizing real talent, even though you have horrible taste in cartoons. Teen Titans Go will never be better than Teen Titans. I'm gonna say it. It's on the show. It's live. I don't
uh,
care. It is not better.
I
It's
seen that.
fun.
I seen that
I,
back
I
and forth.
enjoy it. It's not better, Danny. So stop it. Also, Quentin Rushing from Quentin's Engine Works is here. Before he says it, I know Quentin would definitely enjoy reading Five Star Number One. So when you get it, please drop it in the ICD so we can get a review. Hopefully,
Yeah, for
Quentin can
sure, for
snatch it
sure.
up. We're all really looking forward to it. Like I said, okay, so it's been running across the banner the entire time. They are at 37.51. Four
Yep.
days to go, 121 backers. They are going to make goal. So you guys need to buckle up and go ahead and help them out, so that we can maybe get some stretch goals in here, man. We could push this a couple
Yeah, for
more
sure,
K
for
up and
sure.
get some stretch goals going. FSK is coming out swinging,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
obviously you are a tremendous part of that, as well as Fish Lee and everybody else on the team. So thank you for coming here and chit chatting with me and doing my thing or whatever. Do you have any where can they
yeah,
follow you? Because obviously we want to get everybody your information,
yeah.
and any last words you got for the audience.
Camera's acting strange here. Yeah, man. You can follow me on Tony Klapper on Facebook, and then the Five Star Fam everywhere else. You can follow Five Star Fridays on all platforms. Check us out because me and Fish Lee we run a show every Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern. So tune in sometime. We're going to be creating some new characters on the spot live with some generated answers from the people watching as we interview guests.
Oh
So
damn, that's pretty dope.
tune in with us on that. Get on there and back that pledge, back that Kickstarter. Right now, you can get 14 digital comic books for just $1. So if you're like, I don't have money or things are tight, man, you can get a lot of stuff for just $1. And if you can't do that, sharing is always caring. So get on there and share for us. FSKGo.com. And then if you want to get caught up with the other books that are in the FSK universe or get some merch, you can go to fsknow.com, and that's our storefront. And all the books of Hot Shot of Vigilance and the other books are on there, so you can get caught right up to where Five Star comes in at. So that's where we're at, man.
Awesome, awesome. Tony, thank you for coming on. I definitely want to get you back on later on in the year
For
after
sure,
we
for sure.
produce the issue and get to see it all and get a review going. Thank you for being here. Like I said, you guys go check out their Kickstarter. They're super, super close to goal, and it's one. You guys know that I won't say it's a worthy project. I'll use some other words. If it's not, but this is definitely a worthy project. This is a dope
Thank you.
character. It's going to bring some depth to the FSK universe and their whole mythos, man, which is really, really dope. And it's already pretty deep. So join in, jump on, get on it before it's too late. Um,
Thank you.
that's it for me, Wingless Comics. Across all social, Wingless Entertainment on Twitter. Follow me, check it out. We will see you guys next week.